yeah, it was a great idea. It was awesome. And you could do this back then because you had time to process everything. But now, when we're in the thick of it and things are starting up again and the stuff that we wanted to do, now it just feels like it's impossible. Parenthood is challenging enough as it is, and getting organized sounds easier said than done. Now, combine these two together, and it's truly a balancing act that many of us struggle with day in, day out. If you're here, it's because you want to know how to get your life and home more organized and structured where the kids are involved too, so that parent life is a little easier and you can focus on what truly matters. Hey there, I'm Dianne Jimenez, owner and founder of One Tidy Place. I created this podcast because I know parents have their hands full. I know this because I have 3 kids of my own. Each week, we'll talk about all things organizing, teaching kids life skills, and contributing to the home, being on the same page with your partner, and raising your kids together while you tidy up, go out for a walk, or just need some real talk. I'm here for you. Thank you for tuning in. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hey everyone, welcome to the Parenting Guide, Organizing Habits Made Easy podcast. And you are listening to episode number 43, where I'm going to be taking a little bit of a pause from my series of interviewing my kids because I wanted to just touch base a little bit with you all about this time of year. So for those of you listening into the future, thank you for being here. But this time of year is a crazy one, especially for parents because it is the back to school month, at least. But I'll get to that later on because although we all take those cute pictures of our kids going back to school on that first day, the actual whole process is so much longer than that because that's pretty much the start of it. Or if you're those super organized people and have everything ready weeks and weeks before school actually starts, by the way, just in case you're wondering, that's not me. And definitely not this year. I was getting school supplies the day before school started and still running to the store to get the last minute things the day after day 1 of school. So back to the first day of school where we take all those cute pictures, that's just the start of the month, at least, back to school. And it's a whole, animal that together with the activities and the extracurricular activities, not just the ones that we pick and choose for them to do after school, but when we actually get the chance to sit down and consider all of these things that are adding to our schedule, on top of everything that life is just throwing at us and the adjustments we need to make, it's a little hard. No, it's very challenging for a lot of us to just wrap our heads around it. And it takes a toll on us mentally when we think about everything that we have to do on top of putting food on the table, getting to work, making sure that the kids are fed and they're sleeping well, all of those things. It's a lot on our plate that we're adding in this short period of time. And if you have kids in different schools, high school, daycare, elementary school, it's just, you can go wackadoodles. So I was just with a bunch of girlfriends last night celebrating our dear friend's 50th birthday. And I had so many conversations with my friends who are moms of, 1 to multiple kids. It's just everybody's on the same boat. So I wanted to jump in here to let you know that you're not alone. I hear you. There are so many moms, parents out there going through maybe not exactly the same scenario as you're going through with your family, but we're going through very similar thoughts and feelings as you are. So if you haven't reached out to a fellow parent yet, I encourage you because there is power in community and talking it out, even just to compare notes. For example, I enjoy speaking to other parents this time of year because we hear each other and we're there for one another, whether it's in person or through texting. This part of parenthood, to get used to the new schedule, getting back to the groove of things with homework and lunches and practice days. There are also special events to consider, like competitions and shows. So these are all the things that you have to find room in your schedule, as well as, if you have multiple kids, fit it in so that it all works. And just trying to figure all of this out with your own schedule. It's a lot and totally normal if you're feeling overwhelmed. So just to get a little behind the scenes with you, yeah, for me, I was getting, it's almost like not claustrophobic feeling, because I'm not really sure how exactly to the extent of that, but it almost felt like everything was just caving in for me when I realized that, we're very close to September and school starting and all of these things are about to start, like everything. And it's a huge adjustment, and where do I fit in all of this, aside from being the driver, the chef, the everything? Where do we find space to stop, breathe, think? Time is so rare in this start of a new phase in our life, in particular, first day, first month of back to school. So it's almost impossible to think of blocking off pieces of time to do anything, whether it's just to take a run in the morning or start a new class, a new course. The idea of starting something back in the summertime or at the end of the school year last year, yeah, it was a great idea. It was awesome. And you could do this back then because you had time to process everything. But now, when we're in the thick of it and things are starting up again and the stuff that we wanted to do, now it just feels like it's impossible. And I want to tell you, it's okay to feel that way. And it's okay and totally normal that you're going through this. Like I said, this is an adjustment period. However, I find that women in particular, we somehow find a way to figure things out, especially when it comes to our family and the things that need to get done around the house, and even making time for everyone around us. We just find a way. But there is also, I find, a fire within us. And maybe we just have to dig in a little bit to see it, but it's there. And this is to give ourselves a little bit of that space, to have that time in our schedule that's just for us, for our own needs. So for example, now that we're closing the month and heading into October, it still feels like I'm trying to get in the groove still. And, we're completed almost a full month of school and we should be, quote unquote, getting used to things. But no, honestly, I'm still trying to adjust. And not only that, but other things get added on. So for instance, I recently started taking swim classes. Now, this wasn't something that I was planning to do months ago or even last month. It was just kind of like still in the back of my mind. Maybe I'll start something this year. I had to do something for myself because I haven't been in a long time. So when I talked to a few girlfriends and considered it and spoke to Onig about it, it was kind of like, yeah, I need to be putting myself first too, especially with my health. So that's when I started looking into taking swim classes. And initially, I was thinking I was just going to do this once a week because that's all the options I had. It was either once a week or 3 times a week. And when I was initially looking at this whole thing, 3 times felt like a lot because it wasn't just an hour. It's about an hour and a half in the pool doing laps, right? And it's also including the prep time. That's getting my bag ready. So that's ensuring I have the proper clothes and toiletries for after swimming. Not only that, I had to consider the time to get there and the time coming back, drying up at the pool, as well as drying everything the second I got home. It's really not just an hour and a half. It could be close to 2 hours, maybe even 2 hours and a half of a chunk of time out of my already packed schedule. But I know this is just the beginning. This is, again, an adjustment. The more and more I do this, the faster and faster I will get. So it won't be 2 hours and a half. It'll get a lot shorter than that because I'll be more efficient with my time. So where I am today is I decided to, after a few conversations again and confirming everything would be okay and starting gradually, instead of doing the whole hour and a half, because I'm not even there yet, I'm only going to do about 30 to 45 minute sessions. And I've signed up not for the once a week, but for 3 times a week. Yeah, it's a commitment to myself. It's definitely an adjustment and something that I have to prioritize for myself. So that also gets to be squeezed in to my schedule at night while the kids are already in bed. I have to take off and do things for me. And that's where we're at in our life. It's a constant adjustment. I know I keep saying it, but that's what it is this first month and a half, maybe even 2 months of the beginning of the school year. So speaking of which, we just got an email that my youngest's dance classes are starting up again in a couple of weeks. As well, my oldest one has decided that he wants to take an extracurricular activity, which is cooking class. And I will not say no to that. Not just because the school's offering it, but it's going to pay off so much in the long run. In addition to this, our daughter is graduating grade 6. So guess what's happening with that? Graduation committee meetings starting up real soon, as well as events for the graduates. And I'll be signing up for those too. It's a busy, busy time, my friends, and I don't want to sound too cliche or anything, but it will go by so fast, even though it doesn't feel like it right this second. So before I come off here today, I just wanted to let you know that it's okay that September, October, even November can feel like a huge chaotic mess when it comes to our schedules and finding time to do the things that we want to do ourselves. It's really challenging. It's really hard mentally, physically, spiritually. And again, it's okay to feel all that you're feeling. I just hope that you're not keeping this all to yourself, all these feelings, because sometimes we hear that someone is suffering in silence. And I want to let you know you don't have to, and that you have some sort of an outlet, whether it's an activity or an exercise or something that you can do for yourself and for your mental health. And I really encourage you to reach out to someone. Maybe you have been hesitant about doing so, but I hope that you being here, listening to this episode today, that it gives you that little bit of a nudge or a little bit of a push to reach out to someone and just, check in with them to say, hey, what you up to? What's going on in your crazy busy schedule? And are you feeling the same way as I am? I'm sure they are feeling exactly the same way you're feeling, even though their circumstances may be a lot different from yours. Now, before I head out, I want to leave you with this strategy to help you along the way, especially when you find it really difficult and you feel like how I felt, things caving in. Or each time you're about to do something, go somewhere, prep for the next activity of the day, try to remember this strategy: to stop, take a moment, and just breathe. Even if it's for 5, 10, or 15 seconds, take those few seconds for yourself to just slow down. As simple and maybe even ridiculous as it sounds, this will help you have a better grasp or just kind of like a refresh to be able to take your next best step. All right, my friends, thank you so much for being here and for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I wish you so much patience and kindness with yourself, especially during these very challenging, difficult, mind-boggling times in this parenthood journey. If this is your first time listening to this episode, thank you so much. I hope you get to join us again next time. And whether you're new or you've been joining us more often in other episodes too, please don't forget to follow Parenting Guide Organizing Habits Made Easy podcast. I so appreciate those extra follows, because the extra follows means the platform will basically just boost this show up to more eyeballs and listening ears to help other parents who need this also. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.